Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders. I'm Roy. I coach Destroy, and I'm here with Morty.
Coach of the Warn Dogs.
And Calvin.
Coach, I'm a very excited Calvinator Destroy.
You're very excited?
Yes.
Because you know what I'm packing.
Yes.
I'm not even joking this year.
You've talked a big game here.
The Blues, this year, this is the most relevant one we have done so far. 100%. Now, I've said this every year. However, this year, I mean it.
Okay.
Well, they're sort of relevant. They were the sixth highest scoring team last year.
Okay.
Does that change? Maybe.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. And they didn't give up heaps. They were actually a pretty tricky team.
One of the hardest
to match up against. Cow.
Good team.
I'm sure the scale of hardness is coming together at the moment.
100% of these dogs.
But that's where they are. But the Blues, what did they do in the off-season, Roy? They brought in a heap of rookies, essentially.
Yep.
Nick Haynes came from GWS.
Oh, former Flame.
Depth player.
Yeah, he's the only one there. But, we'll talk about some rookies, I reckon. There's
We certainly
one by
will.
the name of Jagga that we'll talk about
100% we'll talk about him. It's super exciting.
What did they lose, though? Probably the biggest name would have been Matt Kennedy, who is a fantasy-relevant player.
He is. He was so disrespected last year.
Oh, yeah.
I love Kennedy. I don't blame him for going.
And he's gone to a club who will fully respect him, Roy. I'm sure.
I reckon.
He's a glutton for
to
punishment.
go to
that bloke.
Bever.
Yeah, it is.
And Owies
Unbelievable
went
sense.
to West Coast.
He did.
So they're probably the main guys out of the 22
Yeah.
at time. Anyway,
Where do we start?
Anyway,
where do we get
Stocks
started?
up. Just the whole thing stocks up.
Is it really?
Now, we're going to start at the very top because it would be rude not to. So last year, Sam Walsh led all scorers for the Blues. Now, not overexciting though, 106. He's done better than that before. I think it was 2021, he did 109. Now, I fully expect Walshy to be 110 plus for the first time in his career moving forward.
Right.
So he was up there at the top. Should you pick him? Yeah, definitely. He can be M without the buy as well. It just adds to how relevant
so
these guys are.
Blues aren't relevant because they're not playing opening round this year.
No,
AFL said no.
There you go.
not a relevant team.
Good for us.
Good for us, all right. And so starting with Sam Walsh at M1 is now a massive play.
My concern with him is the fact that he's played 19 games and 15 games in the last 2 years.
Is it?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. What was it? His back?
Yeah, it was. I think he's over all that at the moment.
Spinal.
Thing is, he doesn't know how to look after himself in terms of he just goes that hard.
I
all the
thought you
time.
meant like me on a Friday night.
No, nothing like that. But he started the season really
came
well
in
last
like a
year,
machine,
and he could do it
didn't he?
again. 100% he did. Yep, he was on fire. I think he averaged 119 in the first 4 games, something like that.
Yep, okay.
It was huge. So do not hesitate to put him number 1. Now, Nic Newman is the second one I'm going to talk about. Average 103, came home like an absolute steam train.
Always does.
126 in the last 5.
Yeah.
He averaged. Now, my flag with him, because I am a professional, I'm not just all through my blue glasses.
Everyone's improving.
He is quite traditionally a slow starter.
He is, yeah.
So maybe not one worth launching on, despite sometimes the way we look at the way people finish as an indicator. He's one where it's probably not the best thing
So he's
to
not.
do.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the top. Like, he's probably one that I like up towards the top.
Yeah, definitely.
For what he can
He
do.
does it every year, though.
He does.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So does he have the ability to start well? Well, by all means, he does. It depends a little bit on role and
Scale.
scale.
Yep.
But,
He's
man,
32
oh, man.
years of age.
The
They've
wa-
got a pretty good run to start with, don't they?
He doesn't exactly take that many hard hits, dog. He's probably got the body of a 26-year-old. So he is one that his number's very impressive, but I would just be very careful with.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to get my most exciting one out of all of them? And yes, I've already talked about Sam Walsh, but I am more excited, if possible, about Tom Koning.
Yes.
Now,
He's the poster boy at the moment, isn't he?
he is
For the Blues.
So there's obviously a lot of people, flirting with the idea of the set and forget. The two big fellas that look very expensive, but their numbers look very impressive. There's a few guys putting their hand up as a value rucks, and this guy is one of them. So 900,000 on the dot he costs. The thing that excited me most about him last year, in games where he attended over 80% CBAs, he averaged 103. Okay. So if he's hitting 80% CBAs, that means Pitto's probably not playing.
So
or
where
he's
is
being
that?
bested.
What is Pitbull doing? That's the question here, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I crunched some numbers on their win-loss last year when Pitto plays, basically. And they're far more successful when they just go with Tom.
Okay.
So if we are fit enough, like they had a lot of injuries last year, so if we're talking best 22, I don't think Pitto's going to roll out in it. That's just my gut feel. Anyway, to Koning, 900,000, I reckon he's a true value option.
Now, I have had a little peek at the scale here, Roy. So they go Richmond in round 1. So he's up against Nank.
Yeah.
Easy matchup. Hawthorn, it's a little bit of an easier, it's an easy matchup. Then into Tim English, who is a mega easy matchup.
Yeah.
So
it's a good start.
It's a great start.
Yeah. So he's definitely in the mix. Did I say I was most excited about Tom de Koning?
You did.
Well, that's actually a lie. Now, this one, I don't think I am talking with just heart. I think this is head as well. Well, I've convinced myself it is both. But have you looked at the price of Sam Docherty?
Yeah.
$7.82. And I know some people are getting turned off by a couple of things. No defender status.
Yeah, mid only.
Okay.
Which he's been for a couple of years now, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. And there's still those people that can't understand why he's not priced at the 48 that he averaged when he got injured in the first game of the season.
Away.
So he's still priced mid-70s. Now, this guy, do I have to remind you?
Please do.
Well, I'm happy to. 105 and 110 in the 2 years prior to that. This guy's still 95 plus, and that's even if he's stuck out on a wing, which is a possibility. However, I've talked myself out of him getting stuck on the wing because Akers can only play wing, and they like Hollands out there on the wing, so he'll play some wing time. But can I just let your imagination run wild? It's only pre-season. Imagine if you're trying to prolong his career, go back to halfback. Do what Zorko was doing.
I'm with you. I'm on the old dock at the moment.
And then you could say, they've already got the halfbacks. Sard and Newman plays that role. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Just look at the class levels of Docherty compared to them.
You imagine when he's coming out against Richmond to score in round 1.
Imagine what if he played that role against Richmond?
Yeah.
So the thing is, he'll play a bit of mid. He'll play some wing. He will float through halfback. It's inevitable.
Yep.
He even pushes forward. So the year before, I think that 105 average, I think he had career high goal assists and scoring shots himself. Okay. Now, the problem with Doc is because he is good at those things, Carlton actually lack in those areas. So he could even be a half-forward threat.
Ooh. So a bit of a Mr. Fix-It.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kennedy's gone.
So what's your projection then? Average-wise?
95.
I'm a 95 with him.
So almost putting 20 points on.
Yep.
And that'll be enough?
Oh, 100%, that's enough. Now, while we're talking absolute bargains...
Yes, I know where you're going next.
Adam Cerra.
Yep.
73. And that's what... So, 73 he averaged. That was from 12 games because he was obviously riddled by injury again. Now, this is a guy that he's been basically averaging 90 to mid-90s.
Yep.
And now he's priced at that. He is always going to be an injury risk, but that does not even come close to reflecting how good he is. If he ticks all boxes in the preseason, he's another guy who, I dare say it, he's 20 points underpriced.
Wow.
All right, the question is, could you have both?
Yes.
You can.
I think so, at this stage. And you can hide behind the fact that they're two real value picks with no buy.
Okay, so if you had to pick one, who is it?
Doc.
Warren, where would you go if you had to pick one? Oh, look at Fancy over there.
Well,
Just
I don't know.
Oh, of course you don't.
He only doesn't know because he's been doing some work and he wasn't listening to anything I said.
No, I think it would be Docherty.
I'm Doc.
I do like Cerra as an option. I think more things would need to go right for him, and that's body is one thing, but also he probably needs that role, doesn't he?
I think
to score.
He does.
And that was probably his issue.
100%. I don't know where he really fits in. Obviously, he's a guy, if he's hitting 70% CBAs, he's going to average 95. And I assume they're going to be there for him, but we've got an ever-growing mix of midfielders at the moment.
In draft, though, they're both down a lot on what they can do.
They're both
and that's
bargains.
where Docherty is probably the biggest draft bargain because he's got that 48 next to his name.
Yep.
And if you do think he's going 90 plus, well, then that's, of course, draftable in most leagues.
Yes.
You would have. So
Now, Jagga Smith, he is one
Well,
that
we got a cash cow.
We do. he's one we don't think about. We lock him straight in. So he went pick 3. Carlton obviously moved up to get him. 334 he's going to cost, so inflated, but still absolute bargain. So he's an absolute ball magnet in the talent league. 50 possessions.
Oh, he didn't.
50. He had a 50.
Yeah.
What a
Raise the
machine.
ball.
Yep.
That's pig. That's
It is.
piglet
Yep.
areas. So he's someone that's going to be great. And he also averaged 27 in the VFL.
Scored a ton on debut in that as well.
possessions, obviously. Yeah, so
Just comes out,
he did.
bang.
So absolute beast. Now, there is a DPP that we probably should keep an eye on.
Here we go. You're starting to stretch, I reckon.
Z Will.
No, Roy, don't.
I'm not going to do it this
Good,
year.
right.
No, I'll tell you what, though, that defender forward status. No, not really. So Z Will, unfortunately, the days are gone. No longer am I allowed to quote when he finished the season at the Giants in the midfield.
That's a long time ago.
Wind back the clock.
Racked up. Now, I'm not going to talk about anyone that doesn't need to be spoken about because those boys got a lot of airtime and well-deserved. Now, have you got any questions
I
for
do
me?
have a question because you almost glossed over Ollie Hollands.
Yep.
Now, Ollie Hollands is at 640K, and he's one of the track watchers' love childs at the moment because he moved to halfback in those last few rounds last year.
okay.
Yep.
And that's where he was looking really good. So some of his scores there at the back end had a 94, a 105, and a 98 all in a row. Cow. If you're on halfback doing that, that's going to be the thing. So could he slot there and be there? Because the training reports are saying that.
Well, see, this is the thing. I can't see it happening. So what? Docherty will go to the wing,
Yeah.
and Hollands will go to halfback.
Hollands goes to wing before that.
That Docherty needs to be the halfback
You
guy,
would think
not
so.
Hollands. So, but that's yes, Dog, you are right. Track watchers are correct, but I reckon that's looking at the future. I don't think that could be happening now.
Now, I've got a question to pass on to you, Roy.
His brother's one to watch in draft. He's a nice
Yeah,
fighter in draft.
Yep. Jack Silvani, forward, 455.
I know it's kind of tempting price. Isn't
It
it
is.
because he's going back as well.
They're all going back.
See, this is the issue. Yeah.
Back in the back line.
Can't line up in 666 and all of a sudden there's just 18 dudes in the back.
At least we won't get flogged. But he will actually be underpriced.
Well, he's priced at 44.
Yes.
Someone just threw it out there
Oh,
on the
yeah,
old X
and
and said, what do you think? I said, I'll pass it on to Destroy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if that role turns out to be real, he's going to get so many easy kicks back there that, yes, he's someone. Imagine putting that on your bench.
Yes. So he didn't play last year, coming off averages of 63 and 69,
Yeah.
priced at 44.
Yeah, well, that'll be over 70.
Yeah.
So, yes, he's relevant at that price.
One to keep an eye on.
Oh, 100%.
There's quite a few at basement price, but I don't think we're going to see many because Carlton apparently are contending.
Correct, Dog.
Contending for what?
Flag.
No.
Well, that was the Blues. Hope you enjoyed it. Head to fantasy.afl.com.au and you can start picking your fantasy team now and get your league set up, and that's for draft as well. Don't forget, if you're listening on Spotify, go and drop us a comment. Tell us who, is it Cerra or Docherty? That was the big question.
Well,
who
it's
would you pick
Docherty.
out of those
And I
two?
just remembered something. George Hewitt finished the year
He did.
averaging like 120
Yeah.
in like the last 3 or 4
He
games.
got me over the draft line.
Yeah. So keep an eye on him sliding in draft too, because no one picks up Super Huey anymore. Can score.
Make sure you get one of the Carlton boys, or 10 of them, because 10 of them are going over 100.